coping. There's a holistic experience, and you communicate with the music teacher. You know, this is what I'm working on. You know, is there some way it could be explored even improvisationally in music so that this can connect? When I used to go in as an artist in resident, I used to do an assessment of what they're working on and what they're studying, be it social studies, if it's poetry. I walked in and they were doing poetry. The next time I came back to that classroom, we did all kinds of improvisation. We were acting out similes and metaphors. We took poems, so they understood what they would, what they were working on. And I think again, do one simple exercise.
Well, I could defend it simply from the standpoint that you are teaching reading, writing, and listening.
Yeah.
You're involving them in research, and in the schools where they can no longer have a music program, you're introducing something about music into your program where it may have fallen by the wayside. So actually, I'm not unsupportive of this idea. I think it's a great idea. In fact, in my own teaching, I actually taught science and used drama in science.
That's great.
Do you want to know
what
how
did
I
you
did
do?
that?
I do.
Okay. I've said this on this program before because when I taught forensic science, I had a group of seniors who were undermotivated, as seniors will be after they get into college. And what I did was I would write case studies for them. Instead of teaching something like the DNA fingerprint, I would write a story where DNA fingerprinting would be used to solve the crime. They had to take my story, extract the clues, solve the crime, and then create in the classroom an episode of Law and Order where we would bring a suspect to court and we would prove that the suspect was guilty or not guilty by doing this dramatization. And these very sophisticated seniors who were not interested in anything at that point that had to do with high school loved it. They went into the cafeteria, they got their friends to be expert witnesses, they created crime scenes. So your whole idea about getting them involved actively and having them use a drama that actually they're very familiar with, I think works very well.
And I guarantee you they will remember that.
Yes, they do.
I guarantee you.
They come to me.
Right.
I have former students come to me, remember when?
Yep. And they remember it because they have been involved with it.
That's right. It's that actual involvement that makes it work.
Yeah.
Well, tell me about the publishing of these books. How did you go about publishing them?
The first one, the Have You Ever, we sent it out to many educational publishers. I want to say it took about a year, and then we had somebody interested. We signed the contract, and then, of course, they were out of business. And we were back to the drawing board. But fortunately, Highsmith Press, Alleyside Press, did pick us up and published it. And the nice thing about that was they serviced a lot of libraries. And of course, that book was just wonderfully ideal also for librarians, too. And that's the other thing, even with these books, too, librarians can use it, too. They can, this is wonderful if you know the time frame that you're talking about.
Your publishing company approach schools and libraries with these books, or are they? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and this was
you didn't have to do the marketing.
No, this was in their catalog. However, I must have, anytime there was a conference, anytime there was an opportunity to do a Superintendent's Day workshop, an in-service course, I did it, Marilyn did it, based on the book, and we sold a lot of books that way also. It was word of mouth, and that is out of print now and sold. Things can always be worse. Again, I sent it out to publishing companies who published one-act plays, and the Dramatic Publishing published it, which I was thrilled about.
Now, when did you have that published?
I want to say just 1998, I think.
Okay, so this was really, you did a lot of the publishing and marketing before Facebook. Twitter.
Right, absolutely.
Yes.
Catalog. But now they have, for example, like the plays in their catalog, and it's a huge catalog. And now the catalog is, of course, online. And together we can improvise. We were very fortunate with this. Alfred Music, the publishing company, is the world's largest educational music publisher. And Kim had already been published by them, and Louise was, I think, in the process. She has a Jazzy Fairy Tales, and I had met the editor of the Early Childhood also at a conference. So when we proposed this to her, she was thrilled because she said there was just nothing out there. There's separate books on drama improvisation, on vocal improvisation, and instrumental, but nothing that weaves it together and connects with the classroom teacher also. So
I would imagine.
again, this is in their catalog, wherever they go to conferences.
I
it's
would
there.
imagine that this would also be very popular with home teachers
Yes,
because they're always looking for things to make life more interesting.
you're right.
So tell me, what was the greatest challenge in all of this?
This particular one, the greatest challenge for us, well, actually, we had the distance issue, too, because Kim was out in Illinois and Louise was and we all had different rhythms to whatever we were doing in our lives at that point. But making sure we kept our audience in mind, I think, was a very big challenge, because every now and then Louise would say, who are we writing this for, you know?
Teachers,
And therefore, we had to really bounce off of each other and make sure it worked. Kim would take some of these, and with her college students who are majoring in music ed, she would take the whole concept, the drama, et cetera, and she'd try it out
Do a
with
test
them.
run.
Yes, and we'd get some feedback, and you know, and it's something I thought was so clear.
This is something.
You know.
This is something you could do with a group of adults at a party. It would be fun. It's
You know-
fun.
You know what?
Fun is a big factor
Yes.
to me in education.
Yeah. Well,
I know some
well, we
teachers
have
don't
to be
agree with
careful.
that,
We're
but-
talking about fun. You
Well,
know,
no, but-
excitement. I think
All right, excitement
to
is a good
learn.
word,
I think
too.
that's what it is. The motivation, the excitement to learn, and to just be productive. I mean, we need people who can think.
That's right. That's
We need
exactly
people
right.
who can think. We need people who can solve problems. And there's not an exercise in any of these books that doesn't require a child to think on their feet or to explore possibilities. And I think that's what it's all about.
That's
I just want to say one quick thing.
Sure.
I think that every school should have one copy of both. And I say that because it's reproducible. It's designed so that a school could reproduce, is the CD, and I think that every school, even if you read one thing and get one thing out of it and try one thing, I guarantee you will be motivated to try more.
I absolutely agree.
Okay.
And one last thing.
Yeah.
A tip for writers. Do you have a tip for writers?
Never give up. That's all I can say. It's hard work.
Yes.
I've switched now to writing children's stories and other stories, and I realize it's hard work. It's
But are you
editing.
having fun?
I am. But it's editing, it's revising, it's networking, and don't be afraid to rewrite. You just have to keep going at it till you get it right. That, I think, is...
Well, it was a pleasure
think.
to have you.
Thank
And
you.
I look forward to actually talking more with you about this because I have lesson plans based on my book too, and they're fun.
That's great. That's great. That's good. But
and
they
there
teach.
is-
But they teach.
And there is improvisation in them.
Great.
They have to pretend they're
You
pirates.
don't know. You've done my heart good to know that someone out there in science has used drama. That
Oh,
you've
yeah.
made my day.
There
That's it.
are
I know.
many science teachers who have made science fun.
Right.
So thank you, Lois.
Thank you. Thank you very
Take
much.
care.
Thank you.